Why do we as humans like winning so much? Psychologists point to 3 reasons. Winning is part of survival. It's hardwired into our brains that when we choose to fight over flight, our entire body physically reacts to give us the best chance to come out on top. Winning forms productive habits. It's the snowball effect. Small wins build confidence to take on bigger and bigger challenges. And finally, winning brings us together. Winning by yourself keeps you alive, but winning as a group or a tribe allows everyone to thrive. Dragon women's basketball has created a culture and a tradition around winning. Not just the got lucky blind squirrel kind of success, but more of the start talking about dynasty kind of sustained success that this season reached a historic new height.
We came up with goals. We come up with goals every year, and a few of those goals were to win the North, win the overall. I guess we had high expectations of ourselves that might have been different from the community or the conference even in what they expected from us. Winning a game in the conference tournament and not just going there, going to Sioux Falls and choking. I think winning a regional game was on there too. Always defending your home court too. That was one that stuck out to us. Coach always says, this is our place. Nobody beats us here.
Coming off back-to-back conference championships, of course the expectations were high going into this year, but this is the NSIC. Nothing is given, especially when you're on the road. And how do you know you're going to even have a championship team? For MSUM, putting a string of consecutive wins together has been a sign of championships. 15 wins, 16 wins, and this season, another run of 14 wins in a row.
I don't know, it always helps us get off to a good start, and we're the team to beat. Everybody wants to break that streak, and we try not to look at it because it doesn't matter in the long run,
I don't know if there was any one thing that got us off to a great start, and what's really funny when you ask me that is that it didn't feel like we got off to a great start.
As time expires, Hintz gets the Dragons back up to an 8-point advantage as we go over to John Webkingers with Carla Nelson.
Coach, up and down first half, a lot of adjustments for you made there at halftime, telling your post to get inside. What do you need to see from them here in the second half to pick up the intensity?
Well, number one, give us a presence in the paint. Number two, how about play defense? We didn't play any defense with our post players. There's no help defense, no block defense, there's no hand-up defense, and then rebounding is terrible. So did I cover it all?
Nailed it. Go get him, Coach.
Oh my gosh, Carla Nelson.
Honestly, I think it's because she reminds me a lot of my own mom, and blunt person, doesn't sugarcoat anything, and that's exactly what college basketball players need. We don't want someone telling us that we're good at something if we're not.
Oh gosh, Coach. I have never had somebody believe in me as much as she does, whether it be my parents or anything. She has pushed me in ways that I didn't know I could even be pushed. And over the years, we've developed a pretty good relationship.
You've undoubtedly heard the saying, all good things come to an end, and this goes especially for win streaks. 3 years ago, a trip to Minnesota Duluth ended a run of 15 wins. 2 years ago, the same trip to Duluth ended a record 16-game win streak. Now with 14 in a row, time for another trip to Duluth.
First of all, their rims are terrible, so they have the hardest rims in the conference, but I won't blame the court.
The first quarter ended up being, we were down by 2 after the first quarter. Everything got a little discombobulated.
Our game plan was to give them some outside shots, and they hit about every single one.
Inside's Peyton Call, back out on top, Kozlowski open, she'll try the three-point shot and knock it down. Now here's Kozlowski trying to answer from out on top, and she does so. Right now Kozlowski, she'll try another three-point bomb and knocks it down.
We got complacent, Sometimes that's tough when you're a good team for how many years, and it's our third year having a win streak. Oh, we'll just come in here, we'll walk over them. You know, we don't need to look at the scout or do the little things. I think it might have been just a little bit of a psychological deal. I mean, we've been going back and forth for a couple years, losing at our place twice in a row. So yeah, it's a bummer, but it helped us kind of snap out of it.
Streak ended. The next night, the Dragons picked up a much-needed rebound win against St. Cloud State, but this league is unrelenting. Being a favorite is brutal. There will always be a tough and talented team up next, ready to bring their best shot at knocking off the top spot.
You know, Mankato, you see the scouting report, you can't pay attention to the stats. You know, team records, like they were 6-10 or something in the conference, and of course, you know, we go in there thinking, oh, it'll be a cakewalk, but we're the team to beat. You know, you can't go into any weekend or any game thinking that. I think we might have just come in a little overconfident and got off to a pretty slow start, but that was a game where we never stopped fighting, and I think that's where our bench stepped in, Natalie Seiken and Nicole Herbrinson, and they played a lot of minutes and a lot of good minutes.
The fight fell short against Mankato. The Dragons now suffering their second loss in NSIC play, but still holding a one-game lead over Duluth in the NSIC North and the overall league record. The very next night after falling to the Mavericks, the top team in the NSIC South, Concordia St. Paul. And that fight was an overtime thriller that swayed the Dragons' way. And as the season started coming to a close with only 3 games left before naming who would earn that conference crown, number 1, MSUM, would have to host their streak slayer, number 2, Minnesota Duluth, who is still just 1 game back and on a 7-game win streak of their own. Win and take a 2-game lead with 2 games to go, or fall and be tied with Duluth, and they own the tiebreaker.
Very intense. Just wanted us to come out and play with a certain physicality.
Both teams, 16 wins, 3 losses, and we mentioned pivotal game here could definitely decide the fate of the NSIC.
We obviously were there to win, and we wanted to win. I mean, they had beat us in the last game, so we had to get them back. And knowing that we were in the position to play for a championship and a conference title was amazing, and there's no reason not to play for that. We beat St. Cloud, and then Duluth was the matchup we were really looking for that weekend.
15 to shoot. Here's Volkert, lined up for a 3. Oh, Jacky Volkert.
It was senior night for Jacky. We talked about this earlier, but she had the stomach flu, ended up throwing up at halftime.
As we come to the end of the first half with the Dragons up by a dozen.
And so I just called everyone and I was like, we got to do this for Jacky. You know, she's our captain. You know, she's showed us what hard work looks like all throughout the season, and she's been our leader. So we were all pretty determined.
Grabbing, Hintz shooting. Hintz scoring.
Kind roll there for Megan Hintz. Opportunity for a 3-point play.
We just had to go out and play our game. I think we all played really well together. We all were playing confidently and just really aggressive from the start, and we had a lead on them the whole game, so that was helpful too.
You know, the one thing I did say before the game, before we went out, is, you know, this team wants to take everything we have away from us. Make sure they earn it.
Fetch will come in, and Jacky Volkert's going to sit down. A huge hug from Carla Nelson, and I'm sure there's some emotion going on over there.
In their first meeting, Duluth won by 16 points, ending the 14-game winning streak of MSUM. Round 2, the Dragons would win by 16 points, ending Duluth's 7-game win streak. With a 2-game lead and the tiebreaker in hand, the Dragons now owned the league title and the number 1 seed heading into the NSIC tournament.
The Dragons have been a successful team in the regular season, but have struggled in the postseason.
MSU Moorhead, top seed last season, they fall in the quarterfinals.
Nerves start to creep in. It's a little bit tougher to hold on to the basketball, isn't it?
For 3 straight seasons, the Dragon women had ended their tournament in the first game at the Sanford Pentagon. Would this team be the one to break that stigma? As they found themselves down 11 points to Winona State with just 6 minutes to go, the Pentagon curse seemed all too real for MSUM.
Madi with another long two. That 18-footer is deadly from her.
You've gotten to this point how many years in a row now, and that you're the favored one. There was a huge monkey on her back, so.
They seem to be allowing history to bother them a little bit, being afraid to say, oh no, not again. And a very talented, very good team.
Brooklyn Liegel, she hit some big shots.
5 minutes and she gets another steal.
She responds to you immediately, David.
More so to Elena as Liegel hits the three. It's down to 6 just like that. Liegel tries to change that and does!
Boy, very fortunate. There was no 4-point play on that. But guess who found Liegel? Yeah.
And that's what Brooklyn Liegel does. That's what Kylie, Jacky.
On the post.
Volkert for the tie. Buries it!
Volkert, how big has she been?
That was pretty crazy, but I knew that we needed some sort of spark to win the game, and I don't even know what got into me. I usually wouldn't take a contested shot with, they were all contested, like in my face. I just knew that we needed some sort of spark, and I was confident, and I did not question my shot at all when I came in, so.
It was really cool to see that, when we needed someone to step up, that she was the go-to girl. So, and that kind of sparked energy for the rest of the tournament too, saying, all right, like we're here, let's do something.
Curse, stigma, bad luck, or whatever you want to call it, finally lifted. The question was, how far could this team go? Although they've won many regular season championships, MSUM had never won the NSIC basketball tournament. Would this be the year? To get to that championship game, they'd have to find a way to win over one of the only 3 teams that beat them during the regular season, the University of Sioux Falls.
10 straight wins now for the Coup as they take on MSU Moorhead. They've eliminated them in back-to-back seasons. They're trying to do it 3 times in a row.
Their physicality or their aggressive play didn't bother us, and we actually bothered them.
Hintz wide open underneath. 27-24 MSU Moorhead.
The other thing that really was a factor was how Madi Green played. In our post play, Megan Hintz and Peyton Boom much more aggressive in the post, and they could not handle that.
MSU Moorhead soaring into the NSIC Tournament Championship. Dragons with a 77-64 victory over Sioux Falls.
After watching the regular season unfold the way it did, it only seemed fitting that the NSIC Tournament Championship game featured the 2 best teams all season long. Number 1, MSU Moorhead, and number 2, Minnesota Duluth, for round 3.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it went. It kind of just, it's like a boxing match, and you go back to your corners, and then you come out and you see who wins that round.
This is going to be fantastic between 2 of the best defenses in the NSIC, 2 regionally ranked teams that you will see live here.
But that's how it should be. I think when you looked at the conference overall for the year, we were the 2 best teams.
They're our biggest rival. We wanted that game.
Green and Grow, and it is Green winning the tip for MSU Moorhead. Dragons in the home white uniforms, Bulldogs in the road black uniforms.
Neither team obviously was able to score, so that was kind of a struggle.
Brooke Olson for 3. Off the back iron offensive rebound. Peyton Boom inside with the right hand, left it short. Olson lost it.
It was definitely a battle of defense.
We were ready for it. I think we were definitely ready for it. It was a close game the whole time. It just came down to a couple possessions at the end.
A defensive battle is an understatement. After a brutally tough and physical game, both teams were under 40 points going into the fourth quarter, and it was a close game the whole way. There were 7 lead changes in the last 5 minutes, and it seemed whoever could make 2 baskets in a row would pull away down the stretch. The Dragons held on to the 1-point lead with 1:17 to go. but 2 would fall for Duluth's Sarah Grau, and free throws would finish the Dragons' chances at tournament gold.
Everyone was definitely a little disappointed, coach included. I watched that game quite a few times, and I was like, oh God, I did this wrong, this wrong. This was cool, but we got to work on this.
Going into that locker room, yes, it was kind of a heartbreaking loss, being so close and then just losing.
It's not fun when you see the other team out there getting to celebrate and cut down the nets, you know. Like, that will always stick in my head, and that will be motivation coming into next season for sure. You can't really dwell on losses. I mean, she said, just kind of don't really worry about it.
Hard-fought game. You know, was proud of what we have accomplished. We just needed to take a couple days off, regroup, refresh, and get ready to go again.
The Dragons were guaranteed to get into the big dance for a 3rd straight year in the NCAA tournament. Only question marks left were where would they go and who they would face.
Yeah, so, you know, we're at B-Dubs watching the NCAA selection show. And, of course, UMD, number 4 seed, and MSUM, number 5 seed.
I think we all had that bitter taste in our mouth from losing the conference championship to them.
I mean, it would have been fun to play someone else, but with Duluth, we know them, they know us. We knew what we had to do.
Getting into the tournament is hard enough, but getting to the tournament would also pose quite a challenge for MSUM. Weather being what it was this winter, ice and snow pounded the Fargo-Moorhead area, leaving the Dragons with no other choice but to fly out on game day morning. Tarmac to tarmac, hotel to Fort Hays State, the Dragons had finally arrived for the NCAA tournament.
Their fans were spectacular. They just love women's basketball, and who wouldn't want to play in front of fans that love women's basketball? They take a lot of pride in their support of the women's basketball team there.
Terrific arena to play in. I've never played in something that big, and so I think that was an awesome experience for the freshmen and the sophomores, for the younger girls on the team. It was a really cool facility, the way it was set up and the stadium, how it was all laid out. It was surprising. I mean, we didn't even play them the first round there, and we could already feel the energy. We saw the crowd from the game before us, and it was pretty awesome.
So it's the Dragons and Minnesota Duluth for the right to play Fort Hays State, the host team, in tomorrow afternoon's semifinal game here in this central region. Up top, Nicole Brown's going to try a 3. And that goes! Barabich inbounds the ball off Ann Simonette's rear end, then grabs it and scores. Some imagination by Kylie.
Jacky Volkert, senior captain, leader of the Dragons, would lead with her actions, scoring 6 of the last 8 points for the Dragons in the final moments, finishing the game with 16 points and sending Duluth home one last time.
They were ranked before us, but in my opinion and probably coach's eyes, and maybe a lot of other teams, I'm not sure, we were expected to win that game, and we were going to win that game no matter what. Coach has said that we've had a lot of ugly wins throughout the season, but you know, a win's a win, no matter how pretty or how ugly it is.
7 seconds left to go. The Dragons are about to advance. A 3 thrown up, that's no good. A read by Kozlowski, the rebound by Kylie Baravich, and somehow, some way, the Dragon women are going to advance.
MSU Moorhead meets Fort Hays State tomorrow at 7:30.
And then, the Dragons were the only NSIC team still alive in the NCAA tournament. But as impressed as they were by the host facility, they now faced the host team in the largest crowd they'd ever played for. 3,725 fans, almost all wearing black and yellow, lined the court. An intimidating stage, no doubt. But for the lone senior for MSUM, Jacky Volkert, every game didn't just mean the potential end of the season. It could also mean the last game of her career.
I haven't played against a lot of teams from other conferences besides preseason play and stuff like that. So I was just ready to go. I was excited and ready to play my hardest. I mean, in the back of my mind, it was the thoughts about what if it's my last game? What if it's my last game ever?
They go inside to Megan Hintz. Hintz had 6 turnovers in that first game, so she's going to have to take care of the ball. But a great shot there from the outside by Jacky Volkert. Drives in, switch on Barbieri, pull-up jump shot, and another one. Another basket for Volkert. And she has all 7 points for the Dragons early.
"20 points later, Volkert gave us all a showcase of absolute grit, shooting over 56% from the field and helping her team stay within striking distance. As the game wound down, the distance proved too great. She stood there on the court in Hays, Kansas with her teammates, coaches, and athletic trainers. And as the final horn blew, the Dragons' historic season was finally over.
Our group, super proud of them. Young basketball team. It's emotional because I lose a very special senior. And Jacky Volkert. It's always emotional for me. I think as I've gotten older, it gets worse. So I'll regroup here in a second. But super proud of our effort. We've had a terrific year. Just a lot of achievements this year by this group. Conference title. We lost in the conference championship, which we'll get back there. Winning our first round playoff here in the regional. We hadn't won one since 2009. Very emotional for me because, myself and my staff work very hard, and you put a lot of time and energy into your season, and I think as you get older, you appreciate these moments more, and they're not going to come often. So, okay, I got it. All right. So anyway, just like I said, super proud. And these 2 young ladies, one is leaving and one is going to fill her shoes. And I couldn't be more happy for Jacky, and I look forward to what Natalie can bring to our program. That's pretty much my sob story. Sorry. Okay.
It was really cool to see Jacky go off, though, in her last game. She was on fire, 20 points in the first half, whatever it was. It was crazy. She was making every shot. None of us could, so she just kind of said, screw it, and she kept us in the game. Without her, we would have gotten blown out.
We were all really proud of her for going out and playing such an awesome game, especially from the start.
I mean, maybe my play was a little bit elevated that game, just knowing that I had nothing to lose and it was my last game. So going out there with that type of attitude was pretty fun and a great thing to experience, actually.
I think playing with Jacky was really, really special. She's an amazing person off the court, and then when she gets on the court, even better. It's crazy how someone can be that talented at 2 different things.
You can't replace Jacky Volkert. There's no way in hell anybody can ever replace her. She means a lot to me. She's one of my best friends, on and off the court. Working with her for the past 3 years was something just incredible. And, getting the assist records, all of them, and breaking her own records, she just works hard day in and day out. So I will definitely miss her next year.
Oh, just special. She just grew so much as a person. You know, I think when she came in, she didn't come in this confident young gal from Mounds View. You know, she was very mild-mannered, kind of unsure of herself, nice, wanted everything to be, you know, nice. And her senior year, I just saw what somebody who could lead, didn't care what people thought of her. She wanted the best for the team. She had the guts to say it, to play it. And I trusted her with just about everything that, anything that involved our program, I trusted her. And I love that. It just shows it showed everybody her grit and heart, and people followed her. And that's what leaders do, is they show that, and then people get on board and follow that. And you know, she's a special person. Maybe one of the best Dragons ever.
The Dragons would eventually head home to Moorhead after completing the most successful season in program history, after Jacky Volkert became the winningest Dragon women's basketball player of all time in breaking through rivalries, curses, and some bad weather. It's hard to move on from a season-ending loss and step back and acknowledge the scope of what they'd done. It takes time to remember and time to reflect. As we look back on the newly notched height of Dragon women's basketball, let's take a look at why this group was able to accomplish so much.
I would say the most special was the potential that we had.
We have a group of girls who love to work hard and put in extra work.
Didn't all get along all the time on the court, but off the court we all came back together and had one goal that we were shooting for and trying to accomplish. When we did get into, when we did have lows in the season, like ending our win streak and losing to UMD, like we all regrouped and we played for each other.
Just their ability to fight through adversity. They grew as people, as players. That was awesome to see, just people, you know, growing, and kind of made my heart happy.
I guess what I would say to my teammates is thank you, obviously. Thank you to all the previous teammates that I've had. I mean, I would not have been the player that I am today if they wouldn't have pushed me. And just to previous teammates, I guess I would say I'm super excited to watch them grow. I mean, they're gonna be so good. I'm really excited. And just to play fearlessly. I mean, I don't need to give advice because I'm still pretty new to the alum club, but just play fearlessly and don't let anything hold you back, because there's nothing to be scared of.
Our year was pretty special, but our Dragon fans, you made it even more special.
To all of our supporters, online, in person, you guys are amazing. As a freshman, I never realized how supportive you guys were and what the community was really like here. But after playing here for 4 years, it's clear you guys are supportive, 24/7, here to stay.
Your support over social media and through texts and phone calls was crazy. It was really, really awesome. It was like we had you guys there in the stands with us.
We appreciate everyone that shows up to the games and following us on social media when we're away from home. That's really helpful as well.
You see other athletes supporting other athletes. Like, for instance, all the football guys shooting me a text, or any of the other girls, you know, after a game or coming up afterwards giving us a hug. That goes for football, soccer, volleyball, all of you guys. It was incredible, so thank you for that.
And I guess, roll Drags.